Hey, everybody, welcome back to Truth Talk. This is Ravenflower West, and I have a very good friend. I refer to her as one of my daughters. She refers to me as one of her mamas. So, hello, Miss
How
Tiffany, aka Cinder Moonstone. You were on one of my Truth Talks when I think it was one of my first go arounds, right? Okay.
yeah.
And so this is kind of like where are they at now type situation. We were supposed to do this last week, but I ended up with that nasty flu, and I will occasionally mute myself because this hack still is here. And my husband is cooking right now, and I can already feel it like starting to like. And I don't want to cough all over you. Yeah, it's starting to do its thing. So, anyhow, welcome back. And what are we going to talk about today?
So, fair warning for anyone. If you've watched Truth Talk before, we definitely get nitty gritty, trigger warnings for the future. This one is
Mhm.
specifically going to be spiritual journey mixed with dealing with infertility and what I've been dealing
Okay.
with for the past, like, gosh, I think it's been probably 4 years I've been back on your channel for that original
Yeah,
batch Truth Talk.
yeah.
So, that's pretty much when that part of my journey started kicking up and really getting bad was after our initial first conversation. And so we're gonna be diving into the past 4 years with the specific focus of my infertility journey wrapped around how that affected my spiritual path.
Okay. Okay. Are you open? See, here it goes. Are you open to questions at the end?
Absolutely, always open to
Okay.
questions.
Awesome.
All
Okay.
right.
So when we last spoke, we had talked about all different kinds of stuff of how you found your path.
Yes.
Let's take it. Let's take it from there.
So I'm trying to remember exactly where that was. I don't think I hadn't been to the specialist yet. Basically,
I think you were just
in
trying. Y'all were just trying. I
yes,
remember. And there was a
yes,
lot of us, like your friend group and a community that was like throwing good
yes,
energy and vibes your way. Yeah.
yes. So in the middle of that, before that video, I had gotten a PCOS diagnosis. For anyone who doesn't know, that is polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's basically a hormone imbalance that causes a lot of crap, first off.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
um it can cause infertility for several different reasons. Basically, uh, the biology side of it is my body was not releasing the eggs every month and it was causing cysts on my ovaries. So I
Okay.
wasn't actually releasing my part to then catch and get pregnant and everything else. So I got married in like when did I got married in 2019. I think we had our truth talk and we had been
Mhm.
trying. Went to the normal OB and he was like, okay, we'll try to get you on some meds, to try to get you to ovulate, no problem. And basically, we did a couple of months of that. And then he was like, okay, well, I can't really do anything for you. You need to go talk to a fertility specialist now. And I was like, I'm not ready for that yet. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
I
not
went,
ready for
yeah,
intense.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not, no, 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 no. I'm young. I'm not ready for that yet. I went and got a second opinion from another OB. And she kind of did the same thing. I was put on metformin, which is a diabetes drug, but it's also because PCOS women are like 50% more likely to have diabetes, type 2 diabetes specifically. And a lot of those
Really?
drugs
I didn't know
actually,
that.
yes,
Huh.
it's crazy. So part of this journey that I'm going to talk about here in a little while was all me trying to get that in order so that I'm reducing my risks of those sorts of things later.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, um, still, I know we had talked the last time about like I'm kind of a chaotic witch in the fact that I feel like I fall off my practice, which is totally
That
fine.
do that.
It's something I had to realize. Like, you don't have to do these big like things every single day.
Yeah.
And it's something that comes with age and maturity that you're just like, oh, I don't need to do this 27-step thing every night to
Like
be
dressing a
so
candle. You're just like, why
yeah,
is this
yeah.
taking so long? Yeah.
No, 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 no. I don't need to be sitting here burning things for 3 hours to still be considered a witch, and that was something I was dealing with kind of concurrently as I was dealing
Hmm.
with infertility stuff. So, went and got a second opinion, did bunch of different they ca they refer to them as medicated cycles, but basically I was just taking the meds. It was letrozole or Clomid, who's familiar with this world, basically to try to make me ovulate. Well, it wasn't enough of a dose. So finally we decided after True Talk, okay, I guess it's time we start looking for someone. Well, I kind of
Mhm.
started noticing that my practice and my self-worth tied to me being a witch was tapering already. And
Uh-huh.
we were having discussions, and we were having discussions in our friend groups and everything. Y'all were always very supportive.
Oh, thank
But
you.
I still was having like internal like, you know,
Yeah.
you got to I got to a point where I was tying my self-worth as a woman into my self-worth as a witch, and it just was
Mm.
tanking from there.
I'm
So we went
out. I give you that. I'm lying you. Okay.
but this is the whole reason for me to come on and talk about this, because this is now we're into the second year of this now 5-year journey, because I got married
Yeah.
in 2019. And my I just spoiler, my infertility journey lasted 5 years. So,
Mhm.
I wanted to hit kind of each step of this, and at the time, I was pissed. Oh, I was pissed. Like they talk about like the 5 stages of grief. Oh, I went through them, and we're in the angry phase. And we would kind of bounce back and forth,
Mhm.
denial, angry, but like certain people would pop up, like a girl I knew pop up with not identical, but spontaneous triplets. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" But that
You're
was so
lying.
irrational of me to say, but, like, you're also allowed to feel those things whenever you're going through that, because I was
You
grieving this
are. You are. No,
loss
it's just
of
like, bitch,
life.
how would you like breathe and get triplets? Yeah.
Literally, I was like,
No.
she was it wasn't like she was doing fertility things or anything else, she was just like, "Oh, yeah, spontaneous triplet." Damn. Anyway,
You're like, no. And you want to be happy for her, but you're
yes,
also like
ye
feeling a certain way
yes.
about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was so angry. And
I
it
get
was
it.
just one of those things where, like, I felt kinda fake too, because I was like, "Oh, I'm fine. Thanks so much. Congratulations." And I'm like, "Oh," on the inside, you're ready to mm. Anyway, so gosh,
Love
we're
how
like
honest you are. I love how honest you are. You are always just like 100% authentically you. And I
I
just love that. I just love that about you.
I appreciate that, but I think it's important to end the stigma of, you're supposed to be happy-go-lucky all the time. You're supposed to just
Yeah.
take life and roll with the punches, and get no, that's not realistic for anybody.
Right.
And
Yeah.
at that point, I was young. We're 2 years in to being married. We're both ready, because we
Mhm.
had a very long dating period. So we were both ready to start a family. I can envision my husband being a father, like that was another thing too I had to contend with was I felt like I was letting him down, because I was the one with the problem. We had diagnosed I was the one with the problem, And so it always from what I've seen of other I am so sorry if you can hear my dogs barking outside. My husband must have let them out. I
No,
can hear
I
my
don't
German Shepherd being a pain. Anyway,
know.
he just likes to yap. Um, anyway, so we're going into like our second year in. This is like 2021 era. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes. After the majority of like COVID being bad, finally decided to go see the original infertility specialist that the first OB had recommended. And her bedside manner was awful, and I hated it.
Oh.
And I
Uh-huh.
hated it. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, we're gonna not do that, and we're gonna go try to find somebody else." So at this point, if we're keeping track, I'm on doctor like number 4. So creeping into 20
Was it their
into
style? Was it just their style, or was it like just the bedside manner, or was it
oh, it was
like the way
style.
they wanted to go about it?
all of the things. So, like, she came in really aggressively with, like, this list
Oh,
of
ew.
all of these supplements I needed to be taking and all of
Mhm.
these I needed to eliminate plastics out of my daily use because they were
How do you do
contaminating
that?
our food and da 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 da. And then she was like, she was the only one though that was realistic to me on this side of it. She was like, you realistically you need to lose like 10 to 15% of your body weight, which I was bigger at the time, you know. I was like a size 22. And that was the first time I had been told by anybody, "Hey, you need to lose weight to be able to get pregnant." And I'm like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense because weight gain is a side effect of PCOS.
Right.
So we're still trying to treat this, but like you want what none of this is
It's making
connecting."
sense.
And she just like it was this whole I just remember being handed this
Okay,
laminated
that's a
sheet.
word. We need to make that a word. That's fantastic.
That
Haminated?
laminated. Mm.
Hmm.
Anyway, I just remember her being like and she was just so, like, dead and, like, dry about it. Just, "Here, these are all the things you need to do and the supplements and the things you need to stay away from it, da, da, da," and I was like, "Oh my god. Okay. Alright, ma'am." So we went home and we talked about it, and we did have, like I remember we had a genetic panel done through her to pre-screen to see if we were carriers for anything potentially,
Mhm,
which that
mhm.
was pretty cool, actually. Nothing nothing really came from that, you know, we were all clear as far as that goes. So, we ended up going with the doctor who I saw most of 2022. He found I had a big old cyst on my ovary, so we had to treat that, and then we finally got into the actual treatment. Okay, as we're still going with this, my self-worth is tanking. I'm getting
Oh,
depressed.
honey. Oh, honey.
And because of that, my practice is tanking.
Yeah.
So I am right about that time we started the actual fertility treatments and stuff. I remember
Mhm.
y'all even worked stuff for me.
We
Do you remember
did, yeah.
that?
Myself, Bear, Snow, I think there was a couple of others, yeah. The typical Sabbath Social crew. Yeah,
Correct. Correct.
yeah. Mhm,
The typical crew, like I was working things and getting so disappointed that they weren't coming to fruition.
mhm,
But I had thing like it was another witchy lesson I had to learn, like, magical Monday before magical, like, there was a reason for it,
mhm,
and that was
mhm.
blocking it, and I was in denial still, denial, anger, you know, that, "Oh, it's not working." "Okay, well, it's not working, so I must be a shitty witch."
Oh, sweet pea.
Oh, being honest here, being honest, we've
I know. It
come
just
a
breaks
long
my
way.
heart. It just breaks my heart. I mean, and it breaks my heart because I'm glad that you're being honest about it. I mean, truth talk, right? But
Yeah.
I think we all go through that in some
Oh,
sort of
absolutely.
aspect in our practice. And it doesn't
Absolutely.
matter if it's witchy or Christian or
No. Correct.
whatever it is. The spirituality does start to tank and you start to lose hope when you're like, well, wait a minute, I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the work.
Why am I
How
not
come
seeing
I'm not seeing the
results?
fruit of
Correct.
these labors, you
Yeah.
know?
Um, and, like, my husband's actually Catholic. His going to church, tanking. His keeping up with
Mhm.
his aspects, tanking.
Uh-huh.
'Cause at that point, we were both getting like, "Okay, well" like, we bit the bullet and we're now starting to go to the infertility specialist, but, like, we didn't think we would ever have to be here. We were
Right.
still in our 20s at that point. I'm only 30. So, just now.
Right.
So, we're in our 20s, like
'Cause we were in New Orleans for the big old cruise and the meet and greet and stuff like that, and I
what year was
remember we were all talking about this. That
yes.
was 20
What year was that? I'm trying to place
21,
this. Was it the
2021.
it was the end of 21? Or was it 22?
I wanna say it was like well, the summer of 21 because
Hmm.
22 was something else. We were up in We were in California. We were in California, Mexico time frame.
Okay.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
so this was literally, like, right as I was starting getting
Or
treated
maybe
for
it's 22. Maybe it was 22. It was summer of 22.
okay,
Okay,
okay, so this is
okay.
was it summer? I don't think it was that
Yeah.
hot. It was
Well, no,
cold.
you're right. It was was it February-ish
I
time
thought it
frame?
was
It was
February.
the end of February, the beginning of March, because it was right after Mardi Gras. And I
Yes,
remember all of the family that was in New
yes,
Orleans was like, "You're coming when? You're doing
yes,
what?"
yes, 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 yes,
So
yes.
we're tired. Yes,
Sorry,
we'll
guys,
get it to we're all
we're
over the place.
so that
I'm
was,
like,
like, right as I was starting the specific hey, Blue Knight. Um, that was right as I was starting the specific treatments for, infertility, where we did something called an IUI, which is an intrauterine insemination, as crazy as that word is. Basically,
"Ow."
they get everything ready on the day of the ovulation, and they turkey baster you.
Okay, okay.
If that makes sense.
Turkey baster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, first one was in I think first one was in January, and then we did another one after that, which you meet and greet in New Orleans,
Okay.
like March way, maybe. I'm trying to remember. We did 3 at the beginning of that year. First half of that year. And if you remember correctly, I won the tarot drawing from
Yes,
I
you
am
did.
having a brain fart. What was her name?
Oh gosh. There were several different things I wanna say. I can't remember right
Anyway,
now. I can't remember.
a reader in New Orleans had donated a reading for that meet and greet. Um,
Yoba
yeah, yeah,
Mara.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. By the way,
She used to be in Seattle, and then she went over to New Orleans.
yes. Okay. So this is all connecting here. I brought this up for a reason. It's all connecting here. So, did 2 IUIs, and then my doctor told me that doctor told me that I was too big for IVF because he had his nurse call me after the second one failed and said for anyone who doesn't know, IVF is the test tube babies where they take all the parts
Yeah.
out, make the baby, put the baby back in. Anyway, um so so we're talking like April. April. It was spring break. He calls me in for an
Okay.
IVF consultation. I still have not used Matero session with her yet.
Mhm.
And he basically tells me you're too big for IVF. We don't have success rates at your BMI. You really need to lose weight. He's had now 6 months that he's been treating me that he could have told
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Um and didn't bother to bring any of this up. So we did one more IUI early summer and failed. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Taking a break. I'm gonna focus on my health. I'm gonna try to focus on my mental health because it has absolutely tanked at this point. And that's when I booked my appointment with her.
Okay.
Highly, highly recommend it because my questions were centered around, kind of like why do I feel like my practice is stagnating? And it was that conversation with her and those pulls with her that we all kind of connected that I was inadvertently connecting my failure as a woman to not get pregnant
Mhm.
to my
Mhm.
failure as a witch because those workings weren't working because there were mundane things in the way blocking that and I wasn't ready to
Yeah.
see all of that yet. And I remember she had said, one of my like, I don't see motherhood out of the way for you yet, but it's like we need to do. There's some things that need
We
to
gotta do
happen
yeah,
first.
we need to do some housekeeping. Yeah.
Correct. And so I was like, whew, okay. So I had kind of already mentally prepared to start taking care of my health, especially with the PCOS and everything.
Mhm.
Um, But I will say practice still stagnated after that. Like, we had that conversation, but it was like I wasn't fully ready to hear those things yet until I did it on my own,
Mhm.
which,
Mhm.
if you know anything about Aries, we're pretty damn stubborn.
So, I have a grandson named Aries who's a redhead.
Oh. Oh, I was
But he's
not.
a Leo. But he's a Leo.
Oh,
I know. He's a
all the
lot.
oh, wow.
He's a
Oh,
lot.
oh,
He
wow.
looks just like a little miniature bear. I mean,
That's
he just is. I'm like, oh my god. Oh, oh, I need a
I'm
nap.
I feel that. So, stubbornness coming in, I was like, "No, I'm gonna figure this out myself," even though it was exactly what I needed to hear, and now looking back, I was like, "Oh, I wish I wouldn't be so stubborn all of the time." But, you have to realize those things for yourself. So, 2 years of going to the gym, eating right. I even finally got cleared to be on Ozempic for about a year to really
Yep, I
help
saw
because
that.
they had there was a lot of research coming out that it was so good for women with PCOS because of all of the diabetes symptoms that come with it. So I lost like 65 pounds. Yeah, we've gained some of that back now. There's a reason, but yeah. So I was like, most hot thing in the gym. Like, at one point, I had like a 230-pound deadlift, like heavy lifting weights, and I found therapy through weightlifting and listening to music. And I did not realize that the universe has a funny way of doing things the way you're like everything works out the way it's supposed to. You just don't realize it while you're
Yeah,
going through bullshit.
yeah.
So I had a lot of family boundaries I needed to set in that same time frame
Mhm,
that I didn't realize I needed to set
mhm,
until now looking back, I'm like, "Oh, wow, that was another reason for all of this."
mhm.
Like, there were certain people who were very negative about my infertility journey, and were very not understanding about not being okay, and I was having to set boundaries for myself and be like, "No, I'm not going to do that thing. I'm not going reunite with these people we were friends with years ago because I'm not in a mental headspace to deal with the fact that all of them have kids now and all of them
Yeah,
have babies. I'm not doing that for myself." And
yeah.
this person said to me, and it's person supposed to be very close to me, said to me, "Well, maybe that's not your path in life. Maybe you should be more like a mentor to other people's kids. Maybe you should start considering adoption. Maybe you should start considering foster." And I'm like, infertile peoples are not just the backup for unwanted children, and that's an awful thing to say,
And
but,
also, not their place. It's none of their business to say
uh
that kind of thing. But it's your journey and your husband's journey, and that's not anybody's business.
yeah.
If I want to say that I want to take up mountain climbing,
Yeah, it's not my
I
business to
mean,
be like,
it's
"You're
not
you
business.
can't do that." Mhm.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
well, stand at the base of the mountain and bring me hot cocoa. I'm going up, bitch. I'm going
Yeah.
up.
Yes, and so that was something now looking back that I had to deal with, quite a few people actually,
Mm,
and preset those boundaries, and in that meantime is when actually I got my first witchy tattoo. I have a half sleeve. It's cold still down here, but I have a half sleeve that's literally devoted to not bringing my generational trauma bullshit down
yeah,
through to my children, and it's
good job.
also reworking my own affirmations. So it's I've got bigger pieces of flora that all kind of go with that idea, and then intermixed I have words of affirmation that are all
Oh,
wrapped up in it that all go in it. I love it.
I
It gives
love
me
it.
chills.
I
Anyway,
love it.
it's my
No,
favorite.
I think that it's a beautiful thing. And you what you just said right there is one of the things that I have apologized to all of my children for, because I was,
Yeah.
not fully ready to be a mom, but I got to be a mom, but I hadn't healed from any of that trauma and
Yes.
inadvertently passed it on. And although we went through things, together as a family, this is one of the things that I deeply regret and apologized. And not all moms do that. Not all
No.
moms take responsibility or accountability for their part in their relationship with their children. A relationship with your children is just like any other relationship. There is
Right.
two sides, and both have to show up.
Yes.
Without that, it just falls away.
And
So good on
spoiler,
you.
yeah, spoiler alert, that's who I had the issues with and the boundaries with.
Okay.
Father is pretty much non-existent for drug reasons. Um,
Hmm.
but it was my own mother. And I was like, the
Yep.
what? And so
You can cuss here.
inadvert- inadvertently the universe was telling me you need to be able to fix and heal all of your trauma and your bullshit on top
Mhm.
of being able to heal from the fact that I thought I was like broken and not enough. Like the part that came from the
Yeah.
infertility specifically, it was all tied in and wrapped together. And so when I started
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
care of my health and started going to the gym and doing that, I then she showed her true colors in that regard. And we have done a lot of work since then to get back from that. But God, I cut her off for like almost probably 9 months, like, blocked on social media, like, I don't no, no, just no.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to talk to you yet, I'm still very pissed off, like,
Hmm.
uh, definitely went through a depressive episode at some point,
Yeah.
and I was able to finally start working back on myself, and I'm still mentally as far as, like, the witchy part goes, I still am thinking, like, I'm not ready for, like, big spells yet. I'm not ready for this yet because my last big workings were all my fertility workings.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm doing, like, little stuff every once in a while, like, throw a simmer pot on whenever it feels a little crappy in here, like, meh, might put a little something in the money bowl, but literally I'm talking bare minimum, if that, if
Yeah.
I remember. I have, like, a little witchy subscription box, the boxes just kept building up because I'm just gonna save them and I'm gonna go through them, but, I'm not ready to kinda commit to anything big yet. And so we I decided that this past year, meaning 24,
Hmm.
I had talked to my husband, and now
Hmm.
we were like 2 years into this process. I had been on Ozempic for about a year, and I had talked to that primary care, and they were like, "Okay, if this is what we talked about it, and like I think we're finally ready to potentially go back to
Okay.
that same fertility clinic, but we made the executive decision to see a different doctor in the same
Yeah.
clinic."
Good. 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 Good.
Um, after literally the man treated me for 6 months and then was like, "Oh, you're too fat for IVF." Like, I could have been doing this. Anyway.
You're like,
Anyway.
"Ah."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, and I feel like in trying to be too nice and hold my hand, like, you just let the ball drop on that. And
Hmm. Hmm.
if you don't know, fertility shit is expensive. I'm so sorry for anybody who has an aversion to
Yeah.
language.
No, this
The
is a safe cuss place. This is a safe cuss zone here.
okay, I'm trying to be
Let it
good.
out.
I'm trying to be good, but,
You don't have to be good.
uh,
That actually, because people that cuss generally are the more authentic and trustworthy than those that keep it away. So you let it fly. You be
that's
you.
probably why my students enjoy it because there has been an occasional time I've tripped over a cord and been like, "Shit," and all the kids start laughing. Um,
It's realistic. I mean, it's
and
realistic.
I
Yeah.
teach high school, guys, I don't teach little kids, I teach high school, so they appreciate it. Anyway, so I went to the doctor, one of the ones in the clinic who, specifically said specializes in PCOS, and I was like, "Hell yeah, give me her." I had come
Mhm.
off the Ozempic, we were still going to the gym, I was still in that mentality, I'm in this healed mentality of, like, "I'm gonna keep you at arm's length if you fuck
Mhm.
me over,
Yep.
I'm not dealing with that anymore," we're
Yep.
still actively working on that relationship, but I actually have good news as far as that goes, and it's amazing. It's a big step for her. We're gonna get to it, though.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry,
Oh,
I get a
no,
little
no, no. I'm just excited for you. We've
it's
been
a
friends for a long time. We've been friends a long time. So you and I have shared the ups and downs of things. And so I know they may not know, but I'm excited for you. So go, do your thing. Yeah.
Okay, so so this is last spring, we had a consultation with her. She from the jump, she walked in and she was like, "Okay, I was looking at your records, fill in some gaps for me." And so I kind of went through the whole, I'm a PCOS patient, da, 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 da. I just got off Ozempic, blah, 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 blah. I've lost 65 pounds. Actually, I think it might have been closer to 70. Anyway.
Ooh.
And she was like, fantastic. We talked about diets she recommended. We talked about specifically for PCOS, not even for getting pregnant, just PCOS maintenance.
Mhm.
She was like, we're getting you back on metformin. We're checking all these vitamin levels because did you know literally almost everybody in the country is vitamin D deficient?
Mhm.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah.
So all the vitamins, all the supplements, but it was broken down in a way that made sense to me. Not like that first doctor I talked about where she was just like, here. It was like, no, this is for this. This is for this. This is for this. This is because this is specifically because of the PCOS. Like,
Well, I could
okay.
see why you would like that because you're an educator yourself, and then she's educating instead of scolding. It's
Oh
the
god.
delivery.
Go and I'm a science educator, so I have a biology background. All of that was, I was like, "Ooh, I'm eating this up because I'm getting the why and the because and the how."
Mm.
And so we did 2 IUIs with her. They failed. And it was like, shit. Um, this just did not work out for us as far as that goes. And I had started picking up little bits of my practice again. So we had a local shop, and if she knows, I live in a very small town. So having a local metaphysical shop open is a huge deal.
Huge deal.
Opened
Huge
up
deal.
over this huge deal. So excited about that. They started doing little like meet and greets and classes, and the shop owner does Reiki sessions and all this. And I was like, oh my God. So I had gone and like picked up a new Unikite bracelet. Like I was still not in it as far as like big things go, but I was like, no, 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 we're gonna start. I was ready to start exploring that side of it again as well. Um, and so cue the IVF conversation at the end of the summer, which is like a 3-month process to get started, as crazy as that is, because there's paperwork you have to fill out. You have to fill out a will for what to do with the
Oh,
embryos.
wow.
Why? Yes, it's nuts. Like if we get divorced, there's a plan. If one of us dies and the other one doesn't, there's a plan. There's a will. If we both die, there's like it's all of that has to be filled out ahead of time.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's wild. Um,
Legit.
yeah. Um, Before I started my first sets of injections for IVF, all of the crazy drugs. Um, and I say crazy drugs because I had been all of them before in lower doses. So
Mhm.
because my body didn't respond to the first like pills. So they moved me, they called it IVF style drugs. I was taking all of the medications that you would use for IVF to create extra eggs and those things. We were just taking them at a lower dose for the insemination ones. IVF,
Okay.
the point is to go in because it's so expensive. We're thousands and thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
The point is to try to get as many eggs as possible whenever you go in. So the drug dosages are
Mhm.
much higher, lots of hormone fluctuation. Anyway, right before I started injections, I went and had my first Reiki session,
Mhm.
which was an absolutely amazing experience. I oh my gosh. And so like I feel like that by healing all of my boundaries and by healing my mental self and then by healing my body and then by getting back into my practice, like everything started clicking and aligning. So then I live in the South and we had a hurricane hit the day that my first egg retrieval was supposed to be, where they go in and they suck them
Oh
all out.
my word. Oh.
I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I had to go through and do I had to basically release all of those eggs on my own and then go remake them all again because they weren't good anymore to be able to use. That is awful because
Heartbreaking.
oh, it's also extremely painful. 10 out of 10 do
Oh.
not recommend because my
Oh
ovaries were
my
like
god.
the size of grapefruits at that point.
Oh
They
my
were
god.
like I could feel them whenever I moved. Like they were very, very
Oh
large.
my god.
Yeah,
I
so
couldn't even imagine.
I had to release all of those over the weekend, no power during during the aftermath of a hurricane. Oh, and then the next couple of days, they were like, "Okay, we're starting over." Okay.
I
So,
always
okay.
literally gird my loins.
It
Oh,
was it was a rough couple of days. I'm not even gonna lie. It was a rough couple of days. But finally get the egg retrieval going like a couple weeks later. Um get all of those out. We had decided that once we got our embryos, we would genetically test them because why would you spend all this money to not make sure that they weren't as perfect as possible, you know?
right.
And so we finally did our first embryo transfer where they take one and they put it back in November. And I think I knew within like 2 days. I wasn't ready to admit it yet, but I
Yeah,
think I knew within like 2 days because I was like, I'm already feeling like a little
different.
nauseous. Like
So different. Yeah.
this is different. And so 4 4 days past transfer, which is very early. They do not recommend you
uh,
test. Um I tested and I got the faintest positive, and I actually have that on video because I have a TikTok account. So if you want anybody who wants all of the details of the infertility, you can follow Making Bailey Bafouche, on TikTok while it's still up for the moment. Um, and that's all of the specific, like, mixing and deadlines and the specific infertility side of it, the going to the doctors and those sorts of things coming back from May. So 2 IUIs worth and all of the IVF stuff. Um, the next day, I knew it was gonna get darker, so I took another one to try to convince my husband, and then I took a digital and it said pregnant, and we both freaked out. We had our moment. That night, I don't know why this makes me emotional, but that night my Unakite bracelet
because
broke.
it is so wonderful.
So, the Unakite bracelet I had specifically bought for all of this, it snapped that night. And I was like, "Okay, we're here." So,
We're here.
I am now 14 weeks pregnant with my little test tube miracle baby. I am getting back in the swing of being a witchy mama now, soon to be.
Mhm,
Uh,
mhm.
about to start going through all of my boxes that I have stacked up of shit that I'm like, I'm saving this for a rainy day. I'm saving this for a rainy day. Okay, well, it's
Witchy
finally.
Mama Neston. You're
Oh
I
god,
love
yeah. Oh, my apologies, y'all. Ooh.
do not. Those are wonderful tears. And I'm a little teary, Misty, over here too, because I know that the struggle has been seriously real for you. And there's just me, my husband, a lot of the Sabbath Social crew that have followed and met you, in New Orleans at that time frame. We have been rooting for you this entire time. Like
Yeah.
we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. And so, like, I know that you had sent me um a little video. I think you sent me like a little video and then you sent me a picture or whatever because I something happened to my TikTok and it got crazy. So
Okay.
I think I saw an initial one that you were going after all of the egg retrieval, but I
Yeah.
didn't know about the next
All of
step.
them. Yeah.
And like I just like screamed and squealed when you did it, and I'm like in tears. I'm just so happy for you. I'm just so unbelievably happy for you because like you're just one of the greatest people. You're just one of the greatest people. And you and your husband are just so deserving and so wonderful. You're going to make the most amazing parents. I'm so happy for this child. I'm so happy for your family. I love it when good people win. I love it when good people win. It's just amazing. It's
I
amazing.
thank you so much. So I decided
We're
that
all just
through
crying. We're all just crying. Just crying.
so
Teresa.
I had decided that I had wanted to because I had gone through so much myself of my own mental and spiritual journey, especially the past 5 years. I wanted to be able to share this process with other women, with other people,
Mhm.
other couples who might still be experiencing this. Because like I was saying earlier, there's kind of this stigma that you're just supposed to like I think it's just because infertility is so misunderstood to an extent, and there's so many different things that can go wrong. Um,
Yeah.
that so like I had the privilege of actually doing IVF with a friend of mine. Um, and we both kind of got caught up in the hurricane, and she has a completely different issue going on. But we
Uh-huh.
got to be there for each other while we were doing all of these injections and mixing and everything. And at this point, like I'm an old pro as far as far as mixing all the drugs and stuff go, and the needles and the everything else, which sounds crazy. It kind of is, honestly. Go watch some of those TikToks. Some of the stuff I have to mix up is a little crazy. And they literally just hand you the kit, and your nurse is like, "Here, do this, do this, do this. Okay, you got it. Bye."
Okay, you're like, wait, don't leave
Okay.
me. Yeah.
And so like I got to kind of take that role whenever we started our IVF stems or the drugs for that
Hmm.
that um to kind of help be there for her for that as far as mixing, because that was the part of the process that she was the most nervous about, was messing something up as far as that goes. And that was a really healing experience as well, to be able to go through that. Her journey is not over yet, unfortunately. They had a couple of setbacks, but I'm still it's just, it's such a interesting experience to now be on the backside of it and realize there was literally a
Yeah.
reason for everything that I went through, and there was a reason for the disconnect and coming back into not only my spiritual practice, but, like, the fact that I had to set boundaries, and, like, there's Monday there were so many Monday before magical moments that I did not realize were blocking me, and it wasn't just my own
Mhm.
personal body and my own personal health. It was,
Mhm.
um, like, the boundaries with people that are coming up, like, my the non-existent father has now decided to attempt to come back in the picture.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh, and I'm like,
How do you
"It's
feel
honey,
about that?
it's a little too late for me."
Yeah.
It it's one of those things that, like,
Mhm.
mm, uh, not quite sure how to word this. Like,
Too many layers. There's too many layers there to go after it. It's a lot. Right now you gotta concentrate on what you know. That
there's
unknown is just a
well,
lot.
there's just too many things that have never been taken accounted
Mhm.
for and apologized
Mhm.
for from a
Mhm.
narcissist who thought it was all about him, and it then
Mhm.
led him to drugs and everything else, and that was a very evident part of the reason why we fell out, and he was not invited to my own wedding. Like, he had to
Mhm.
he and, some people were kind of manipulative at the time of being like, "Oh, yeah, he watched your wedding, video and he cried." I don't care. I don't I'm a child of divorce. Like, you had plenty of opportunities to show up for me. I
Yeah.
don't get told as an 8-year-old the phone works both ways.
Right.
Sorry, that there's too many layers there for me to peel back,
Yeah.
and it's do I forgive him? Mostly. I'm still working on that side of myself to just fully let it go. Am I gonna forget it? Absolutely not, because you will not cause the
Mhm.
pain to me as you to my child. My child will never know the pain of loving you. And it's unfortunate, but I have to be able to make those hard lines and those hard boundaries, which was the other thing that came up that I was like,
Mhm.
where this came up all within the last year.
Wow. Hey, you
Um,
know what? I completely understand where you're coming from because I had the exact same situation with my mother. And
yeah,
a lot of people know that it was a very abusive situation and, that type of thing. But when I became a mom of my own, I had the opportunity to decide whether or not to let certain people back in. And I wanted to believe in the good of that. But when you're dealing with that kind of abuse, that kind of narcissism, mental instabilities and other things, you're a mom and you have to protect your little family, and there's
absolutely.
just so many things that you're willing to put up with. It's like, okay, I went through this, but you're not going to transfer that to my kid. And especially not, it's like, for me, it wasn't necessarily a requirement for an apology from her, but
Mhm.
just some sort of accountability to be like, you don't just shove all of this on me and you don't just pretend like it just went away and now we're good. Because
Yep.
I don't have any way to trust you. I don't
Yep.
know how to trust you right now. Like,
Yep.
and so then I'm just going to concentrate on me and my family, and I'm just going to let you go until I feel stronger in a moment to maybe try again. But that just hasn't come for me. And when you don't have the accountability, then what do you build on?
That
There's
that is
nothing.
that is the exact thing that I have had an issue with him is there is
Mhm.
he is now disabled, and there was an incident over the summer where we meaning me and my siblings from him were manipulated into going and seeing him in the hospital because he was dying. He had MRSA. He had
Oh,
he had a staph infection. He was not dying at all. He was there for a hot minute, but uh it was a manipulative situation from family that I literally haven't even spoken to since before I got married, because they hadn't cared, and they would I we all flew up there because we all didn't want the chance of not saying goodbye potentially, but then I specifically was pissed how we got manipulated into it.
yeah.
And the person who did it even admitted like, "Oh, well, it all worked out the way it was the way I wanted it to anyway." So it's fine that he can have other relationships with his other children. They have different ideas about everything. I would be open to a conversation for about specifically accountability. But as far
Right.
as having a relationship with his grandchild, he will not. And
Right.
as far as and this is the funny thing is my mother has been the one to grow
That's
now
good.
that yeah, this is craziness. So my grandmother specifically can be extremely toxic, and
Mhm.
just nasty, and it primarily falls on my mom, and then she shields me from a good bit of it. I still get some of it,
Mhm.
but she takes the brunt of a lot of it. So like it looking back at like me realizing I had to break my own generational curses, she was doing the same thing, but she was caught up in it more from a young age kind of a thing. She was a younger parent. So it's kind
Mhm.
of catching her on the back end a little bit. Anyway, so I made the decision I want a cloth diaper, which cloth diapers
Okay.
nowadays are cool as shit. They cloth
It's
diapers
not the cloth diaper I had to deal with when I was a parent.
no,
It's a
no, they
because I
have
would
like
refuse. I refuse. I'm not doing this because I had to do it for my little sister. My mom was like, "We're gonna do cloth diapers," and she thought she was all such a badass, and I'm like, "Ugh." And I was
no.
the one at 14 having to do it, and I'm like, "No!" But cloth
Yeah,
diapers now, they're
cloth diapers
amazing.
cloth diapers now are cool as shit. So they actually
Yeah,
like
they
have
are.
waterproof covers like an actual diaper. They grow
Hmm.
from like newborn to like potty training size with
There's
series
like
of
little
snaps.
inserts.
There's
There's little
inserts.
snaps. They're
Yes,
wonderful. Yes.
there's no pins to stab the baby. Like they come in a bunch of cute prints. Anyway, I really really
Yeah.
want a cloth diaper. We are planning on having more children. Diapers are terrible for the environment. They're also terrible
Yep.
on your budget because
Yep.
the fact that a case of diapers is anywhere from $40 to $50 is absolutely batshit crazy.
Yep.
For you to
Yep.
poop in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so specifically, I know my mother and I are heading in the right direction with our growth in relationship is because I sent my grandmother, who is getting senile at this point. Yes,
Carol says,
and
and
so
so
cute.
cute. They
So
are
cute. I
so
have so many cute prints already. Um, my grandmother wanted my registry. She has figured out online shopping before. I sent her my baby list registry. I get a screenshot of an email that she sent my mother about how everything was so tacky.
oh,
And yes, this is what I deal with from that she blocks for me. And so that was basically the
rude.
gist of the email is she hated everything on my registry and she just needed a list of what I needed. And after I had already told her, okay, well, the registry is the list of things I need.
Yeah.
My mom stepped in and was like, that is the list. She knows what she needs. She knows what she picked out. Just because you think it's tacky, this is her baby. This is her journey. She knows what she needs. Having a baby now is different than it was 60 years ago whenever you had a baby. And I was like,
Correct.
and then this is what killed me. She took the bullet for me about explaining to my grandmother that I was cloth diapering because, of course, my grandmother had to deal with pins and the
Yeah.
old school cloth diapering, and she's vehemently against it. Anyway, so my mom said she shut her up real quick by pulling up what they look like now and kind of surprised my grandmother, and then she immediately turned around in the conversation to me and she goes, "Okay, well, do you have a sprayer yet that attaches to the toilet? I've been doing some research since you said you wanted it."
You're like, what?
Excuse me?
What is this?
You've
Who?
been doing what?
Where? Who? What?
You you no, I don't have one yet. Okay, we'll go pick one out so that we can get it ordered. That way you have that.
Okay.
Um, okay. So it's baby steps. I love that we're taking an interest and we're taking an effort and
Mhm.
we are growing.
Growing with mutual respect.
Yes,
That's
and
great.
that was the always the issue that
Yeah.
we had whenever I was in my infertility journey is that it was just that lack of mutual respect. And
Okay.
now that and you know what? I told my sister, I was like, honestly, it's probably because she wants a relationship with the baby. I'm okay with that. If
And that's
that is
okay.
what wakes her up and
Yep.
we can start having
Yep.
actual respectful conversations,
Yep.
okay, cool.
Mhm.
Um, I'm
Mhm.
here for it. So lots of big changes coming to my life. He is due July 23rd.
July 23rd. What does that make him? Does that
A
make him a
Leo.
Cancer? A
You're
Leo.
and I'm an Aries.
That's too funny. Too funny.
Either that or if he's a little early, he'll be a Cancer, but
There you go.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's great.
it's never always about the sun sign. It's always a moon and rising as well, because that really, or an Enneagram, honestly, an Enneagram will give you more information than just the sun sign on its own. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my
I
gosh.
did
I'm
see
so
that
excited for you.
though. And I was like, "Oh." Oh, and of course, you know both me and my husband and how much of a character we can both be. So this poor little
Yeah.
child here.
No, the blessed child. Absolutely
Oh,
blessed child. It's going to be fantastical. It's going to be fantastical. Okay, we've got one question, and we're going to open it up to questions because we've got a few minutes left. If
perfect.
anybody has questions in regards to witchy stuff, I see we have one question for that, and fertility on a whole, or just questions for Tiffany or whatever. I'll bring up this one. This is from Anne. Here we go.
I'm not the one to ask.
Okay, I
So
will go after this one.
unfortunately,
Yeah. What is
you
your
can
take on
skip it.
that?
I because I feel like I've had so many starts and stops, and they're not actually
Hmm.
starts and stops, but as
Hmm.
far as advancements of my practice go, I've kind of stagnated a little bit as far as
Yeah.
trying new things out. Um, I'm not unopposed to it. I just
Hmm.
need to get back in the swing of making sure my protections are up, wards are up, all that good stuff. I would hate to bring anything over that I then don't know how to get rid of,
Get rid
which
of.
is
You're an open gate.
slightly which is also a reason I have not attempted any deity work or anything as far as, like, confirming deities who working with me or who would like to.
Mhm.
I haven't delved into anybody other than myself yet.
That's good. That's a very good answer. And it's a very emotionally and spiritually mature answer. And I'm going to give another layer to that. If you are just coming into the chat, Tiffany has just said that she is newly pregnant. So, having a little baby, you're dealing with different types of energies, and you are growing that baby. All of that energy is growing that baby and protecting that baby. It's yeah, I'm not going to say for everybody because I don't want to generalize. I never want to generalize, but it feels, at least for me, like spiritual work was never a thing while I was pregnant or while
Mhm.
I was dealing, or even when the kids were young.
Yeah.
Even when the kids were young, I have grandkids that are about to move in with us, and there's three of them. So Elena's 10, Aries is 2, going to be 3,
Oh my
and
goodness.
then Calissa is not even 1 as of yet. So
Oh my
my house is locked down, because all of these children have how do I say, they've got energies of their own, and Elena's definitely a little witch,
God.
and I would rather go after teaching her how to protect herself as somebody who has the sight, and
Yes.
has the little beam on the top of the head and all that other stuff. The house is a safe place. We do certain things here in order to keep it a safe place. And then while you're out and about, how to navigate that, because I don't think there's enough talk that happens to prepare our children, because they can be targets.
Yes.
They can be targets to a spiritual realm. My issue that I do have with spirit boards is mainly because you don't really know who you're talking to. And yeah, you don't really know who you're talking to. I've used them, and I've had negative experiences when I was a younger person. And it's not something that I choose as far as divination goes. I would rather go after tarot or oracle cards, because then I bring in my spirit guides and
Right.
my gatekeepers, so to speak, first. And
Right.
I've built that relationship with them, that I know who I trust, who I'm talking to. Or pendulum work is really what I would prefer to do. But generally, I don't need any of that. I'm a psychic medium already, so I usually don't need the tools for those types of things. I find that lower level entities or spirits generally like those types of tools, like spirit boards, because it's an easy way in.
Absolutely.
It's a
Uh,
loaded question.
yeah. I
Yeah,
I think if I were to ever do it, which would be definitely years in the future, just protection, protection, protection all the way
protection.
around. Um, and then I'm a big proponent of you don't do something unless you know how to undo it, or you
Mm.
know how to
Hmm.
fix it. And that was never something that really interested me just because of that. Thank you so much, Draven. That was never so much. There was never
You're
something.
spilling tea all over me. Well,
Oh, come
here, let's
on.
quiet.
You
I'm
just
just
no.
surrounded by
Um, I just never had an interest in it in doing it myself. Just
yeah.
because of all of the potential things that could go wrong, and like you said, you don't really know who you're talking to. So,
You don't know. And it's just like, are you a good spirit or are you a bad spirit? Well, let me just tell you, I'm a good one. It's like,
right.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
mm, yeah, so many things. And then Draven also says, and also, hi, Draven. It's been a while since I saw you. Nice to see
See?
you in here.
Right. It
Mm-hmm.
My pregnancy spiritual work started years before it with my infertility journey, and I am definitely realizing that it is a continual thing as well.
Yeah.
That having to come back around to it, and it's a different kind of mommy energy,
Hmm.
as far as that goes. And it's definitely crazy. But I'm already excited. I'm already planning things to sneak into his room, and how, we're gonna teach him how to just even be respectful of like nature and the world around him, and then kind of ease him into it if that's something that he wants. Coming from a by religion household, if that makes any sense. Like, my husband shares a different spiritual path than I do. He's got options if depending on what he wants, but he's still going to
Right.
learn to be respectful and kind of take away some of the good parts of both from that. So I'm definitely really really excited about all the things to come and all the new
That is
changes.
exciting. That is
Mhm.
exciting. When my sister's baby was born, I mean, she'll never be here because she's very super Christian.
Yeah.
And I respect her religious,
Yeah. Of
choices. I
course.
absolutely respect it. But when I did visit, I made sure I bought the crib. It was
Yeah.
my, Tia gift. And when I was putting it together, I absolutely
Yep.
put a protection spell in that baby's mattress. You think I
Yeah.
wouldn't? And like, I didn't tell her that I did it, but absolutely, there are things that
Absolutely.
like I felt, around, and they start to, those negative spirits get a little sniffy. They're like, "What's going on? What's going
Yeah.
on here?" And I'm like, "Oh no." Oh no, I live literally on the opposite side of the US from my sister, and I'm like locking it down. I'm like locking it down. Oh no, you did not come
Yeah.
sniffing around over here. Mm-mm.
And I think
Yeah.
it's important. I do think it's important. Like, there's no harm in someone being protected, a child being protected from multiple different spiritual paths, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Oh, I've seen the monster sprays. The
Yeah,
monster sprays are so cute.
they're good. They're good.
Oh my god. Just the idea of it in general is such a cute idea, but also,
It is.
yes. I have a whole separate, like, witch characters board that I that is now getting very, very mommy, centered. So,
Oh my gosh,
very
I love it. I love it. If there's anybody out there before we go that wants to, and glitter to confuse them, or poppy seeds. I sprinkle poppy seeds outside. Those poppies are really good for that. But yes, glitter is another one. Little mirrors on the glass facing out
yes.
distract them. Things of that nature. I mean, it's little things, but it's layers of little things that make a huge difference.
Yes.
Huge difference. But yeah, um, if anybody has any suggestions, or, like you guys are doing, like, keep them coming, because I'm sure she loves
Love
it.
them.
Absolutely. We probably have another, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes as of yet.
Yeah.
And so babies due July. Can you please share with them the theme, because it makes me so happy?
So his theme is, so my husband and I are giant, giant nerds. He's a video game nerd. I'm more of a big book nerd, but he loves, like, we are finishing the Fourth Wing series right now. If y'all know anything about that one's all dragons. And anyway, so his nursery is literally fantasy themed. So it is like light siege green. We're talking dragons, we're talking castles, all the little fantasy bits. I am warring with the energy it would take to do it, but also how adorable it would be to paint him a mural up one
Oh,
wall that is like castle and like little dragon stuff. I physically
mhm.
have the capability. It's, do I have the energy to do that whenever it comes
You
time?
could do it with stencils if you wanted to. You could do like
Yes.
all the background and all that other stuff, and then stencil this stuff, and then go back in when you have a little time, just here and
And do
there,
what,
to
yeah.
like add the more personal stuff. I think
Yeah.
that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
They also make like little wall decals and stuff now, which um we whenever I was in college in a sorority, we referred to glitter as the herpes of the art world, because you could never
The
fully
Hershey's
get rid
of
of it.
the art world.
You
I
can
still
never
love
get
glitter.
we vacuumed the carpet after making so many tutus, and there was still glitter in the carpet after 2 years in our apartment. Anyway, um, so, and then the baby shower is gonna piggyback off of that. It's gonna be our next chapter. So it's specifically like the books are with
Good
like the
chapter.
dragons and the fantasy and the castles, and oh, it's amazing. Make protective sachets, draw protective sigils. Yes. Oh, I actually have a little porch dragon. His name is Felix. We need to get him
I love
one
it.
for his room though. So my little porch guardian dragon, that I try to say hey to every day.
I love
And
it. Bear believes that his matron deity that he works with is a dragon, and he believes that the dragon is the seed of the magic, is the seed of all
lovely.
magic. So yeah, that is a thing. Well, of course, and he loves Tolkien and all of
Yes,
those
yes,
things, and dragon and gold. Oh my gosh, little gold glitters. I'm
yes.
sorry, I got excited. Excited, little gold coins all around the nursery,
Yeah.
just on the walls and in the windows.
And in the windows, and we
They
can
can
get
be
some
dual
like window
purpose.
and stuff. Oh my goodness. Mm, all of the things.
Mm,
That is actually a really good idea though.
It is.
did not think to bring in a Felix in the house for Christopher specifically. So,
Well, what's next for you
um, try to make it through
other
the
than
school year.
motherhood and a whole new brand new
Yeah.
way of life? Yeah.
Um, honestly, I've kind of been toying with the idea of potentially starting my own YouTube channel, which is batshit crazy, seeing as how all of the changes I have coming. I have not committed to anything yet, but whenever the TikTok scare kinda, went out for a
Yeah.
day and came back, I had pre-downloaded all of my videos and stuff because that wasn't something I wanted to lose. I
Right.
wanted to continue to have those up there and potentially transition it into more like a pregnancy after infertility mommy type channel,
You could
but
do it on YouTube with just shorts, and it's almost
right.
similar to, your TikTok journey. Yeah.
Right, which is something that I had been warring with, going back and forth, like, my husband really wants me to do it actually, as funny as that is, he really wants me to start a YouTube channel and,
I
kinda
love it.
release all of my backlog of my TikTok videos. They're all pre-filmed and been saved and everything, and just, release them on the channel and start kind of tailoring it that way. I would love to potentially
That's
add,
cool.
like, a witchy element into it as well, um
Mhm.
even though I know that could potentially be a polarizing topic, especially with potential political climate for the next 4 years, is something that also potentially scares me just a little bit, but in his stuffy. So, we went to Target. This is so funny.
Great.
We went to Target and
Graven, you are on to things. You are
the very
hitting it.
first the very first thing we bought for him was a matching dragon stuffy and dragon lovey that had a blanket attached that is the exact colors of the nursery that we wanted, and it's chilling in his
Mhm,
nursery, what is to be his nursery right now.
mhm, mhm.
Mm, and the stuffy.
And the
The
stuffy. That's
stuffy.
exciting.
Such a good idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to keep talking, Draven, because you got some great
You're gonna
ideas.
do it. Draven, hit me up. My goodness.
You got some great ideas, friend. So and we
Good
are we are
idea.
like we are planning on having multiple children. Obviously I have some more embryos saved. I do think it would be absolutely hilarious if I get pregnant naturally after
You know,
all of
it
the
happens. It does
it
happen.
does.
It does. I am a birth mom. So in high school I did an open adoption, picked the parents and all of that. And she had 6 or 7 miscarriages, went through your whole thing, never happened for her. And then, I gave up my kid for adoption,
Correct.
and they have this beautiful family. And sure enough, like he was like 5 or 6, and she got
Wow.
pregnant with like accidentally. It
Wow.
was just the coolest thing. It was just the coolest thing. So yeah, it is possible out there. It is possible.
I do think it's
You know,
funny.
once your body already goes through a process,
Yep.
it's easier. You teach science. You know how
Yeah.
this goes.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So many things change, over the course of a pregnancy and all of the hormone changes and everything else, you know, a lot of women have that the first one is so difficult and then boop, the second one. So my husband keeps making joke about Irish twins and I'm like, dog, can we get the first one out first?
No, like no wait. You're like no wait. I
Can we
will
get the first
say
one out
though. Now,
first?
Draven, did I come yell at you? I did not yell. I encouraged you strongly. I encouraged you strongly, sir.
I
But
might.
yes, I say Irish twins, yes. And the reason why is because, look, we're only young for as long as we can be young. Our knees and our backs are going to go. I'm telling you. And the longer that you wait, I do have a sister that somehow got pregnant when she was 50 something. And her son did not graduate high school until they were like in their 60s, like early 60s.
Oh
And
my
so it's just like now he's going to college and she's like 63,
oh my god.
64. It's just like, don't be that girl.
No, we're not
Girl,
waiting.
you want to
No,
be
no,
going on trips. You want to be
no.
going somewhere, doing things. None
No,
of that.
I meant maybe like a year, not like right
Yeah.
back to back, but I don't know. The joke I keep telling him is, "Can we wait till we get the first one out and see how we see how we act, see how we deal with it?" 'Cause it I don't he's still Tiffany does have an Instagram. I don't know the name of it. It might not me going check my Instagram.
Just send it to me, and as this uploads, I can add it to the description so people can find it. And if
Not
you do start your YouTube channel, then I will definitely share it on the channel as well, just in the community feed so people can find you.
the
Absolutely.
the TikTok is definitely up. It is making baby Mahfoush. Mahfouz. We'll have it linked on that spelling just because I know it's crazy. I married into it. But it was a cute little go if anybody is struggling with that and wants to go back. And then I'll see about potential Instagram as well. And I'm really thinking about starting a YouTube, even just to just repost what I have
Mhm.
from the infertility journey on TikTok and just kind of add to it when I can. It's kind of a thing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but yeah,
should totally do it. I'm in support. I'm in support. 100%.
yes,
I'm in 100%.
yes.
Say less. What can I do? How can I help? Oh gosh.
All
Well, this has
right.
been a joy. This has been a joy. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for Colby. I can hear them playing D&D right now. If you didn't know, Colby is the dungeon master for the Sabbath Social D&D group, and they are campaigning. They still have slots left. I believe it is $5 a play, and they
Yes.
generally play for like 4 hours, like 3 to 4 hours, it feels,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. And he has all of the subscriptions and all the other stuff. So that's why you have the $5 play. So he
Yes.
does it so you don't have to.
Yes.
Jump on in.
It's an online based play. You hop on
Mhm.
Discord and talk to him. And then he has links pulled up with all of the different maps and everything through D&D Beyond. So that's his little love child project that he's been working on
He's
for
so
years, is
good.
being able to pull all of those up. And honestly, he's a really great storyteller, which makes me really excited
Yes,
for
he is.
promotion to daddy vibes.
We have texted before, and I'm like in my bedroom, and I get a text from you. You're like, I'm just listening to them right now, and just like cracking up. It's wonderful. His
Hilarious.
voices that he uses, it's very entertaining. It's so entertaining. And I have been around the D&D world, oh my gosh, for almost 25 years. Bear's
Mhm.
been playing since the 70s, but I've
Wow.
never. I know, right? I've never heard a more talented DM than Colby out of all of
He
the people that have come through my house.
I will definitely make sure to share that. He takes pride in it. It was kind of
Yeah.
out of necessity because
Oh,
nobody really wants to take the role of DM. And so he was like, well, if this is
it's
the
true.
only way I get to play, then you know what? I'll take it. And he like I remember we're both nerds here, so he loved the role play and the everything else. He actually got into Pathfinder first, which is a similar type of
Mhm.
role play, whatever. But he enjoys D&D more. It's more friendly as far as getting new
Yeah.
people involved and the rule set and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, if that's your jam, you can definitely go through Sappish Social and we can get you hooked up with him on Sunday nights.
Just send us an email at sabbathsocial@gmail.com, or you can go onto our website, which is sabbathsocial.com, and just ask. It's a contact us. It goes all to the same email. So we'll be looking at it. And our admin is also Lucas, who is also playing. So he will see that email as soon as possible and jump on it. He will
Oh yeah.
jump up on it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So yep.
Well, if there's no more questions, I think we're good for tonight.
We're good for tonight.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much
having
again for coming on in. I'm gonna get some lunch or some dinner. I'm gonna get some
me.
dinner for myself, and chomp chomp. We've got three more truth talks that are scheduled. So you're gonna see those. We've got Blue Knight's husband, Anthony, and
Ooh.
I've got another Sabbath Social member, Sherry, who actually is a student under Yelva Mara. She learned all of her things from her. So those people are coming up, and I have a very long list to schedule people very long list to schedule people. I'll get my act together. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Awesome. I'm
Yeah.
glad we're back with Truth Talks.
So many people have said, like, are you going to bring it back? Are you going to bring it back? And I'm like, let me find time. Let me find time. I'm like, I'm a hustler. I'm doing all the things.
Yeah.
Oh God. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and just be good. Be good
Yes.
out there. We're going to laugh. We're going to look at art. We're going to do the things. We're going to hug each other a lot in 2025.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of things to look forward to.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.